I absolutely want this episode to be called Spicy Deja Vu.
Well, it's official now. Good.
That's the name of this episode. Shout out to my hilarious coworker Sam Whitty. He told me somebody referred to PTSD as spicy deja vu.
Oh, PTSD?
Yeah.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Spicy things.
That's hilarious. Not to make light of anybody who actually has PTSD, but that's hilarious.
I mean, that is
like
pretty
spicy deja vu. It almost sounds like a dish, don't it?
Yeah, it actually does.
It's kinda crazy.
Hey, what's today's special?
Can I try this? I'll have the spicy deja vu. Would you like mild, sir? Or what?
How spicy we talking?
Peace and blessings, kings and queens. My name is Jaquan Davis.
And I am Nicholas Fletcher.
And you are now tuned in to another edition of... If you can't hold the pain, you need to go to fucking sleep.
That's a good one.
Oh, gosh. You're now tuned into another edition of the Young Old Heads podcast, the hip-hop adjacent parallel podcast where we talk about a little bit of everything and a whole lot of nothing. Before we get into the proceedings this evening, I flipped a little bit. Take that out. How was your week, Mr. Fletcher?
It's good. So, my week, I'm just gonna say, probably work-wise and for like my company and everything. Personally, one of the busiest, most stressful weeks I've ever had.
Yeah.
But I guess busy in a good way. Like a lot of positive things happening, but it's just pretty overwhelming at times.
You just told me about some positive things, man, and I'm very happy for you.
so-
This dumb son of a bitch didn't know I wish I was in this position. Oh, did I say that out loud? Gosh, I keep
Again,
doing that.
It's on audio again.
I keep doing that. I keep expressing my evil thoughts.
But I do have a hilarious story I want to tell. So, you tell. How was your week?
Okay, yeah, because this isn't the Nick show this time.
I'm gonna try to make it as condensed as
Okay.
possible.
So my week was real. It was good. It's definitely heating up outside, and work was cool. A little small victory I had this week. So, are you familiar with weighted blankets? Have
Yes,
you heard of
actually,
them?
yeah.
I've for years I've been hearing about weighted blankets and how they're really good to sleep with and they help a lot of people and stuff. But I hadn't actually thought about investing in one. That's until the aforementioned Sam Whitty. Shout out to you, Sam Whitty. He told me about there's a cooling weighted blanket.
Oh, okay.
So I searched it and I was like, wow, I need that. And I ordered one and it came and bro, the first night was a little iffy, like, cause it takes some getting used to, I
Yeah.
think. So I was a little uncomfortable the first night, but after that, man, it is amazing.
Really?
I would
I'm
absolutely
interested.
recommend
Yeah.
it. So.
I hear a lot of people get the weighted blankets like for anxiety and stuff.
Yeah,
Like, there
yeah.
are people who have anxiety.
Yeah,
and
it's the only weird thing is, man. So my bed's a queen, and I ordered the queen size blanket, but
really
it
nice
doesn't.
to say about your bed, dude. That's kind. I bet she
Oh,
feels special.
you're a goddamn idiot. But it's weird. It doesn't cover the whole bed. I'm like, how does that work? I don't
Yeah,
know.
the queen is.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a decent sized bed.
Yeah, like
still.
and the
It's a
blanket doesn't
blanket.
cover the whole bed, but it's nice, man. I absolutely recommend it. I've been sleeping great. Air conditioner on that blanket. Oh man, I've been getting some of the best sleep these past few nights. So
Oh.
I'm excited for that because a lot of times I have a hard time.
I don't have to
sleeping,
tell the story now. I mean, I don't know another opportunity to tell this specific story that you just triggered, but I literally remember the best night of sleep I've ever gotten.
Really?
Yeah, it's just the memory. It was one of those nights where it was a cold night and I had to bundle up to get warm, and there's like some specific scenarios, but bro, I slept like a baby. I just
Yeah.
pictured as if like an Eskimo like finally built his igloo and built a fire in it and was like safety. Yeah, that's how it felt, bro. So.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Like sleeping cool is I don't know a person on this earth who can
Nope.
sleep hot comfortably.
No, sir. No.
Like even in the
waking
winter,
up sticky. Like,
Yeah.
ugh.
even in the wintertime, I'll crack the window like and throw a big blanket on.
I'm
But
the same, bro. I prefer a cold room
Yeah.
and bundled up. That's
It just sucks though. Like when you get out of bed in
Yeah,
the morning,
it's all
that's
cold
that's
and-
rough. Like I got to hop back in for a few, turn the heat up and hop back in. So yeah, that's my week's nothing too major going on. But so let's get into this little story you wanted to tell.
Okay,
before we-
so I did get permission from my mother to tell this story.
shout
So-
out to you, Joni.
Yeah, so my mom, Joni. So my mom, who is just hilarious and awesome, great woman, she is in town from Texas visiting, okay? So we're at home, one of the first nights she's here, and it's just her, I, and my wife, and we're just chilling. And my mom, like, so she's from here, born and raised, like very nostalgic. So she wants to go drive around and like just look around, go to the old house, drive by the parks we used to go to. Just
clear your
reminisce.
mind.
Yeah,
Nice little drive.
yeah. So she decides to do that, and she asks if she can use my car, and I'm like, you know what? As long as you're here, consider my car your car. I'll just use the company vehicle. So I give her my keys, and she's like, "Where's your car?" And I'm like, "It's parked across the street. It's the gray car." And she takes my keys and leaves. Okay. So I continue to just chill with Felicia, and about 2 hours go by, and my mom comes home, and she walks in, and I'm like, "How was your drive?" She goes, "It was nice. I drove by the house and all that stuff," and we're talking, and she goes, "Oh, by the way, do you realize that you left your keys in the ignition?" I'm like, "No, I didn't. What are you talking about? Like, I have a set of keys, and you took them off the counter." She goes, "No, you left your keys in the ignition." And she whips out these keys on a long ass lanyard. Some keys I have never seen in my entire life, bro. I've never seen these keys. I go, "Mom, where'd you get those keys?" And she's like, "They were in your ignition." I'm like, "Hold up. Whose car did you just take for a joyride?" And she's like, "It's the gray car across the street." I'm like, "Yo, let me go look." So I go look outside, and sure enough, it's not my car. It's my neighbor's car, bro. She's been gone for 2 fucking hours.
Oh my gosh.
She literally committed Grand Theft Auto, bro, and took my neighbor's car and was just cruising. So she's immediately just terribly embarrassed, and I'm like, "Mom, what's it?" Like, it was an honest mistake. Like it was.
The planets had to align.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
that one
What
too.
are the odds that my neighbor's car, like, they kept the keys in the ignition? What are the odds because it was literally, when you walk out my front door, that gray car was right across the street, and mine was like a little ways up. So I told her a gray car, and she went out there. So she's horribly embarrassed. Felicia and I find it to be the most hilarious scenario that has ever taken place. Because again, I just picture her, bro, she stole a car.
And
like,
you know what's crazy?
Unbeknownst to her.
You know what's crazy about it too is if the neighbors had noticed, they would have absolutely called the police and thought their car was stolen. Because
100%.
you're not gonna think, "Oh, honest mistake.
Yeah,
My fucking car is gone."
You're not gonna be like, "Wait, before we call the police, let's wait around a little while.
See,
maybe somebody accidentally took it.
Maybe a kid's learning to drive with our car."
Yeah,
Like,
I just pictured her coming back as the police were outside taking the report.
oh,
But
gosh.
anyway, so I go to tell my neighbors, and they're not home. So I wait, and I end up going somewhere, and I come back, and their garage door's open. So I'm like, "Oh, they're back now." So I go knock on the door, and my first thing I say is like, "Hey, I owe you gas money." And they're very confused. Like, "What do you mean you owe me gas money?" I'm like, "Yo, bear with me." And I tell them the story, and they find it just as hilarious. They think it's great, and it's their work car, because I think he might work out like on a rig or something. Okay. So they're like, "Yeah, it's the car we take to like work," and they're like, "Honest to God, we would have never have even known."
That's crazy.
Like, the car she parked it exactly where it was, and yeah. So I just thought, I just found it hilarious that my mom legitimately took somebody's car, just
funny.
took some human being's car, and just drove around. So.
Oh, like that's one of them stories. It's you're gonna be telling that story.
Yeah,
for the rest
bro,
of your
that's like
life.
sitcom type shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
All right, so for the docket today, what are we gonna get into first?
First up, we have what makes you a hater. What makes somebody a hater?
What
not
makes you
not
a hater?
I mean, because you are a hater, but like I'm talking about all encompassing.
You're a damn hater.
You're the hater.
You tell me I'm a hater. That's where I feel like hater is a term that's used very loosely.
I feel like I have one defining trait of a hater.
Okay, go ahead.
I feel if you go out of your way to talk shit on something you don't like.
Yeah.
Now, if it just happens to be on the radio and you're like, "Ugh, I hate this guy. I don't like his music." But if you're like say you, which I'm guilty of sometimes, you're still on their Facebook page, say it's like an artist that at some point you like stumbled across, and they post something and you like go out of your way to comment on it, like that's when I feel like you're a hater.
Go out of your way to say something negative.
Yeah.
Like you always see that in like Instagram comments and stuff.
And
like,
just to clarify, I am a hater. Like,
you absolutely are low life sack of shit. Anyway, no, it'll be like little things. Like I just seen recently an artist who just recently came to fame. He bought his younger sister a vehicle, and it was like a Toyota something or other. Yeah. And people online are like, "Well, why didn't you get her a Lamborghini? What kind of brother are you?" It's like he didn't have to buy her
A car in
vehicle at
general.
all.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you got something negative to
And I'm
say
gonna assume it was
about
probably a nice Toyota too. At that.
yeah, it was brand new.
Yeah.
And it's like you like you searched for something negative to say. He just did something very positive for his younger sister.
Not only, I feel like just society in general, and again, I can only talk about like for America at least.
Yeah.
I feel like they have this perception, say the super famous brother, that they almost forget like, yo, that's just a human as well.
Absolutely.
Like he's like it's just because he's rich and famous, he doesn't have to respond right away with like, hey, like here's a yacht for your 18th.
Yeah, here's a mansion.
Like yo, like a Toyota's still a nice car. Like
Absolutely.
celebrities are allowed to drive. Like you feel like you become a celebrity. And
If
it's like,
somebody gave me a brand new Toyota right now, I would be ecstatic. And
yeah,
I love
smitten.
my car.
Yeah, smitten, bro.
But I would absolutely be very grateful.
As a gift, like, hey, no car payment.
No
Like,
car payment. Yeah, you just
here's
you
this
know.
brand new Toyota.
Yeah, I would be very happy with that.
Just people think like if you're famous, like you either have like one of three cars, like a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, or like a Phantom. That's it.
Porsche or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's it.
It's crazy.
Can't drive regular shit.
I think for me, so the word hater, like I try not to use the word hate too much in general. Like I think it takes energy to hate, right? So
I agree. Yes.
So I think the most you'll get from me is a strong dislike. But like if I do comment negatively on something, I usually try to say something positive along with it. And just because that's my energy, unless I have nothing positive to go with that, then I just probably won't say anything. Like, you know, I make jokes all the time and stuff, but like legit negative opinions, I typically try to keep to myself.
So I will say, my haterness was very prominent in my youth, and as I've gotten older and continue to grow older, it's dumbed down quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I will stay silent like 95% of the time. But just every now and again, I'll see something and I'll just make that my little jab. I told you today what I did. Like literally, that rapper that's like known for being controversial. That's his whole stick.
Yeah.
That Tom McDonald dude. Yeah. He just posted a thing today that was like, oh, like the mainstream media and all the news outlets are ignoring my news like song Snowflake and blah blah blah, and like it has 6 million views on YouTube and you can't ignore it. And I just commented and I said, bro, I'm gonna and I was like, bro, and I'm gonna continue ignoring it. And
that's funny. That reminds me of something I said the other day on one of the hip hop pages I follow on Instagram. They're like, oh, Migos' new album drops this Friday, blah blah blah. I was like, oh damn, I can't wait to ignore that shit.
exactly.
And some people were in the comments, oh, you a hater, blah blah blah. And I don't dislike those guys. They do make some catchy radio records and stuff, but just not my forte.
Yeah,
but
same,
I have no problem with them doing their thing. Like I just don't listen to it. But yeah, I got called the hater because I jokingly said that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most definitive definition for a hater is somebody who intentionally goes out of their way to hate on something.
To throw something negative. Even it's so weird. It'll even be like the most positive situation.
Yeah.
And you just look for something like it's just people are so weird. Like it'll be a picture of some model chick and they'll say something weird like, oh, look at her feet or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah, they'll pick the one thing.
You gotta
or
find
it could be like an article that's like, hey, like a huge famous rapper donates like $500,000 to like child orphanages, and they'll be like, oh well,
what about the churches?
Yeah, that dude makes millions, and all he donated was $500,000. Like blah blah blah. Like you want to do something for your community? Where it's like, bro, like come on now, like you just start getting to the point where
you just don't understand. And like I am so glad that I'm not in a mind state that I just want to express negativity all the time. Like
same. And again, I used to totally be that guy, and it was like horrible for my mental health. It was pointless because what I would do is I would post something real ignorant and haterish, and then like their fan base would jump in and start like jabbing at me, and then I would respond to them. And like 4 or 5 hours later, it dawns on me. I'm like, bro, I just wasted a big portion of my day jumping in, engaging with these people who it's like it's pissing in the wind. Like I'm never gonna say something to somebody and on like say on the opposing side in these scenarios that they're gonna be like, wait a minute, that's actually a great point.
That never
it's
goes
never
that
gonna
way.
happen.
Like if I'm actually debating with somebody on a subject and they make a good point, I will acknowledge that at least. But it's just like if I'm very set in whatever my opinion is, like 'cause sometimes you hear some information that might sway you. But if I'm set in what I'm thinking, I'm like, yeah, man,
Yeah.
that's a good point. But no, this, and this.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So I think anybody in the comments, like, what do you think makes a hater? And if you're a hater,
You a hater.
what did you hate on most recently? That's what
Yeah.
you should do.
What have you been a hater? Let us
About.
know in the comment section. Like and subscribe to the Young Old Heads podcast.
All right. So the next thing, today's my day for a random fact, and
Blandum.
I can't remember now what I was in the car and I was talking about something and it brought this up, but this happens a lot. So, you know when you like, there's a product or something and it has a name, and then you like after years of just accepting it, you're like, wait a minute, like where did that name come from?
Yeah, cocaine. Yeah.
Like, who thought? Yeah, like who came up with the word cocaine? I mean, it probably has something to do with like the coca leaf, maybe. But no, we were driving and somebody brought up Pop-Tarts, and then I think it was my wife was like, yeah, why do they call them Pop-Tarts? Like, and so then I was like, well, probably 'cause
They're toaster pastries.
Yeah. Well, they pop. I was like, my thing was like, well, they pop out of a microwave, maybe, like you know, they pop
You
out.
mean a toaster?
Yeah, that's
They
a
would-
microwave.
why would
Yeah,
they
don't
pop?
don't microwave.
If they pop out of the microwave,
yeah,
you got
gotta
something
rip off.
else. Yeah, something else ain't right.
Could you imagine?
They are good out the microwave.
Is
though.
it really?
Yeah,
No.
absolutely.
So-
Yeah, the s'mores ones, those are my
Really?
favorite.
So, but they like. So I thought maybe they pop out of the toaster, and then But I think they're like a strudel. I think that the.
There is a dessert called a tart, I believe.
Or maybe it is a tart or something. Well, anyway, so I ended up looking up, and originally, Pop-Tarts were called fruit scones. So the
Oh.
original name, for fruit scones. And then later it was changed by Kellogg's because of the name. The Pop-Tart was influenced by Andy Warhol's pop art that was in the 19th. So it was like a marketing thing, like so Pop-Tarts and pop art.
Wow.
Yeah, and I just thought it was strange. And then then once it like the name changed, that's when it became like household. Like the popularity of it just took off.
And it's funny because it's one of those products where even if it's not the Pop-Tart brand,
You call them
still
Pop-Tarts.
call them
Exactly,
Pop-Tarts. yeah.
exactly.
But they're actually any other brand is usually calls them toaster pastries.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of where I thought with the whole Pop-Tart thing, and because my thing was tart is to me like I think of your palate. Something's
Yeah, like
tart
it's
and-
not sweet.
Yeah,
It wouldn't
and
be
so
sweet.
tart wouldn't be classified
Yeah.
under this. So I was like, where is the tart side of it coming from?
Yeah.
You know, so
That's crazy, man. I didn't know. So it was influenced by Andy Warhol.
yep,
huh?
yep.
That's pretty wild. And I wonder when they decided to put the frosting on them, because them ones without frosting are ass.
Yes. No,
Just
yes,
get that
yeah,
out of here. I don't want no parts of that.
I found out online. So you have the general like popular Pop-Tarts that you'll just find in the store.
Yeah,
But on-
blueberry, strawberry.
Online, you can find an assortment of really strange ones. Like,
I saw one that took me aback was just the other day. I seen they got like a frosted apple one.
yeah,
That
and
must be
I think there's a
fairly new.
caramel apple one.
And then there's they got a Jolly. They had, or I don't know if they still have them. They
They
had
did.
Jolly
They had Jolly
Rancher,
Rancher
ones.
ones.
And I'm just like, I don't see that being good. I never tried them. They may have been.
Those
but
are the
I just
things that
don't.
I just don't see how they make it out of the pitch room.
Right, bro.
When you're
Like
coming
the
up with ideas, like when a guy's like, "What's the next flavor?" and I'm like, the Jolly Rancher.
Jolly Rancher Pop Tarts. Or how they did the Sour Patch Kids cereal.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't have no interest
Yeah.
in trying that.
You
Why
know,
would you?
You know what would make this cereal really good if it were sour.
If we put sour candy in it. Sour candy and milk. That sounds delightful for the day.
That's another thing that we have on our list of things we want to cover, that we have to cover soon, is like how people discovered certain foods were
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
Like the first guy to try something and was like,
Yeah.
so we'll cover that at some point. But
Just cooking is the whole thing, man.
Oh,
Like how
yeah.
do people discover, hey, if I cook this at this time with this
exactly,
temperature,
and like whipped cream, if like
Yeah.
if I stir it at this time,
Yeah,
and
like
like
do
for
this.
this specific method, it
maybe I
becomes-
add a little salt and it'll do, So
I
it's kinda-
still think that a lot of cooking, and I feel like this about technology as well, a lot of it was probably by accident. It was
Yeah.
just scenarios
No, for
where,
sure.
like even cheese was probably discovered by accident. I don't think somebody thought like, I'm gonna let this milk sit here for X amount of time and then eat it once it's solid.
It's just funny to think like all them years ago, was the food just bland? Like was it?
Just
Like
plain-
you have probably like 5 dishes and
yeah, exactly, yeah. Or you just cooked plain ass meat over a fire, and
Yeah.
or just went and grabbed an apple off the tree as is, and just
Yeah.
like, which I mean an apple, I guess you wouldn't
Yeah,
season in
apples.
general.
Yeah,
like,
but apples always good.
Yeah.
Fruit and stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
whatever,
that makes
but-
sense. But also shout out to the guys who tried the poison stuff, and like their friends were like, not that one.
Yeah, okay, so he died. We
Billy
don't
foamed
wanna,
at the mouth and then had convulsions, and his eyes bled.
yeah,
so don't eat that one.
We don't want that one. So. All right, so time just feels like it's just flowing along,
It
man.
is.
Time don't give a fuck about
this
you.
is- So the next thing we're going to talk about is criminally underrated artists.
Criminal.
And because I feel like with guys like us, this could be something that we could really talk a lot on this one. So let's make it. We can revisit this one.
Okay.
So let's make it concise. Let's each get two. I do one. You do one.
Two criminally underrated rappers.
Yeah.
So you may not have heard of this guy. He's kind of got the buzz going. Eminem. He's actually not very.
Who?
This is why I can't wait till we start filming so
No,
they
the
can
look on my
appreciate
face.
the look on Nick's face just now.
Eminem. I've never heard of her.
No, so give me this. Give me some criteria when we say criminally underrated. Because
okay.
do we mean like not recognized in mainstream?
Yeah. So I'm going to give you mine and my reasons.
Okay,
why,
yeah, go ahead, and that might help
So
me.
here's my first. Obi Trice.
Okay.
So Obi Trice, one, he was signed with like Interscope and Shady Records around the same time 50 Cent was.
Yeah.
50 Cent to this day is like a pop culture icon.
Absolutely.
Obi Trice, hyper obscure. When it comes to skill,
Well, he did kind of, a lot of artists, I feel like from that time period kind of got lost in the shuffle.
that's probably true. But when it comes to skill, I feel like Obi Trice could rap most of D12 and 50 Cent under the table, bro. This dude was so lyrically insane.
And his delivery, I don't know, like the way he delivered
exactly,
his
bro.
bars,
Just
I
cold.
never heard nobody else rap like
yeah,
that.
he had this one line like where he's like, "Motherfucker, I'm an animal. We could have it out on any avenue. An average man flip into an animal, shoot at your man." Hey, bro, just
Yeah,
like,
see, he's nice.
And, but he was so dope. So flash forward, you know, he is to me was, and again, I guess I'm nostalgic, and I have I guess a horse in the race in the sense of he was super impactful to me coming up, man. Like his album Cheers, to this day a classic. That song is amazing, or that album's amazing. Flash forward now, the dude will post something on social media and get like 200 likes.
Oh,
and I'm like, how do you go from that high up? You're touring in Japan with like Eminem and all that, and you're not on that, but you're good, bro. You are so talented, and now you're on social media being like, hey, please check out my new song, and just not getting any attention.
A few years ago, he did an interview on Vlad TV, and he was talking about a whole bunch of stuff, but people in the comments were clowning him because he had on a hat that was like dirty. There's like all sorts of fuzzies and shit on it. It's like, oh man, y'all roasted that man hat.
Like nobody's paying attention to anything else.
Yeah, that's cool. But look, why you ain't clean that damn hat before you?
You could have literally bought a new one on the way. You chose a different hat.
Yeah, no, that's just, I don't know why that's stuck. Cause I watched that full interview. And he's a very intelligent dude.
Yeah, no,
I always look through comments, like when I watch a YouTube video, and I was just like, man,
so he's smart, he's talented. I think he might have fell victim of, you know, going from nothing to having large amounts of money, like gain monetary, like from his.
I feel like his name, like I don't know. The affiliation with Eminem did a lot for him, but I feel like he was never really, like he was popular. His videos were on like 106 in Park and stuff, but he's not. You don't hear his name. You don't hear his name in a lot of circles. Like even back then, I didn't really.
And that's where I'm saying criminally underrated.
Yeah. Okay. So
you could hear, like, say somebody sat in a room and they could even talk for hours about, like, they'd be like, oh, like so underrated. Like dudes like Black Thought is so underrated. Like he's like, I think he's known to like, well, and even him, I feel like has obviously like more notoriety. But yeah, Obi Trice, I don't think I've ever had the underrated conversation, and another person has brought up Obi to me. Yeah, which is So that's my first one.
Okay, so my first one, and just what we were talking about with Obi Trice sparked this up. Freeway. I think Freeway is immensely underrated, man.
I could agree with that.
I actually his most recent project. Oh, I can't. The name of it escapes me right now, which sucks because I got it in rotation still to this day. Came out a couple years ago, but very dope, man. I always liked Freeway. Well, I can't say always. When I first heard him, I thought his flow was weird.
He has a good voice. He has
Like
yeah.
but he does have a great voice for rap. But his flow was very
Mm-hmm.
unorthodox. So I was just like, I don't know if I like that. But then, I don't know if you remember the song "What We Do" with him, Jay Z, and Beanie Siegel.
Yes, I do,
I heard
actually.
that. I was in.
You're just like,
We
yep.
still hustle till the sun come up. Crack a 40 when the sun go down. It's a cold winter. Like he just came in flowing, bro. Like, and ever since that, I became a huge fan of him. And then he was part of a group. I don't know if you remember on Rockefeller called State Property, and he was always it was him, Beanie Siegel, very phenomenal MC as well. But to me, the standouts out of that group, it was a collective of like 7 guys. Freeway and this dude named Young Chris. They were the 2 best MCs. Uh, but yeah, Freeway, and he still got it, man. He still can rap his ass off. He unfortunately been battling some health issues, so I don't think
Yeah,
he's been he's
you
been
brought that
going
up to me.
so hard on the music. But he's phenomenal MC.
I feel like he's very similar to the Obi Trice argument because signed to another powerhouse.
Yeah, yep.
He's signed to Rockefeller,
Absolutely,
Jay-Z.
yeah.
And again, somebody who
And Jay Z, and even when the Rock split, he went to the Jay Z side. Like a lot of dudes were still affiliated with Dame Dash, but Freeway went to is one of the guys who went to.
Yeah, so
and also one more thing I'll add is I think his debut album is a classic to me, but I think it came out in 2003, which was a phenomenal year for hip hop. But it came out in 2003 where 50 Cent had everything on lock.
Yeah.
And so I think it kind of got lost in the shuffle.
I feel like that might be the Freeway album that I used to love when I was younger, and I can't. I feel like, but even the other day, I think you were with me. I was listening to that. It was a Freeway and Jay-Z collab on the 8 Mile soundtrack.
Yeah.
That 8 Miles I'm running. But
Yeah, yeah.
But they both kill that shit. Like,
Yeah,
both
man.
of them kill that.
Phenomenal MC.
Yeah,
so definitely Philadelphia Freeway.
I will concur with that. I agree. So my next one is probably going to be a hot take for you.
Oh gosh.
Controversial. Okay. My next one is Yellow Wolf.
Womp womp womp.
Bro, Yellow Wolf. So my reason is, I think a lot of like maybe the outside perspective. So Yellow Wolf is insanely diverse, man. Like
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
Very
insanely
much so. I like
diverse.
quite a few of his songs.
Yeah. So, but when we narrow it down to hip hop, bro, that dude can spit. He is one of the most underrated lyricists. He is poetic. He's brilliant. You would listen to him in interviews. He's a genius. And what's really cool for him, now I say underrated because I think he has some extreme commercial success, but also independently now because he broke off from Shady Records and he dropped an album called Ghetto Cowboy, and it was very popular. Like, it charted pretty well. And then he dropped. But that's the thing. Ever since he broke off from Shady, dude has been releasing almost maybe too much music.
Really?
It's like, yeah, I'm like absorbing one album, and he's like, oh, collab project just dropped. Oh, and also my solo album comes out next month. Yeah, so, yeah, bro, I think he released from like 2020 to 2021. He already has like 6 projects he's released.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it's quite a bit.
He's been a busy man.
But what really made me start, so I always enjoyed him. I just thought he was a dope rapper and all that. But then he kind of went on, I don't know if I want to call it a hiatus. And I think that Shady Records, like, and I'm sure most record labels do this, they go through the whole approval process, which I think can kill a music vibe. You cut a really dope track, send it off to the higher ups, and they're like, nope, change it, not poppy enough. Nope, beat's not,
Yeah.
So I think he was victim of that. And right around the Shady Record split, he dropped these like 6 songs that you can only hear on YouTube. And bro, spazzing, lyrically fucking murdering it. And that was when I was like, bro, like, this dude is insane. So
Yeah.
Yellow Wolf.
I feel like that's a good choice. I just not. I could take him or leave him. Yeah. He's talented for sure, but he just meh. Okay, so my second and final choice is the one and only. You may have actually heard of this guy.
Doubt it.
Tupac Shakur is a criminally underrated MC. People don't.
I know. What's his real name? Crooks.
Lassane
I know.
Parish
Yeah,
Crooks.
I know a Lassane Crooks, but I've
I don't
never heard
know
of a
who's this-
Tupac
what's this
Shakur.
Tupac character. No, my actual choice is Jim Jones, bro.
Okay.
Jim Jones is phenomenal, and I don't think he's getting the recognition he deserves. He's one of them guys who I could put in the category like with let's say like somebody like Ludacris, where they've had some commercial success, but people don't really like give them credit for how good they are lyrically.
Yeah, because
you know?
Ludacris is a great example because that dude, I'm talking like commercial success.
Yeah.
Boom in
But
the
he's
stratosphere.
a phenomenal lyricist.
Yeah, but he's
People
known for
don't
like,
really-
oh, he makes the fun songs. It's
Yeah,
like, bro, that dude
he
chops
does-
a verse up.
Yeah, he can do. He's very versatile. But Jim Jones, man, it's nice because I've like so he was my least favorite member of Dipset back in the day, and Jewels was my favorite, and he has grown immensely, bro. Like his flows were usually real basic, usually talking about the same thing, but now he's like very lyrical. Uses big words in the rhymes, tells stories. Like he's just grown immensely, man. And I don't think he's getting the credit he deserves. Like he dropped a couple albums. He dropped one in 2018 and one in 2019, and then he did a deluxe version of the latter in 2020.
I'm gonna have to listen now because I only know old school Jim Jones.
Yeah.
I'm talking probably even early like 2000s.
Yeah,
Jim
like
Jones.
Certified Gangsta
Yeah,
and
that-
We
that's
Fly
his-
High.
yeah,
and
yeah, We Fly
Get
High.
Crunk Music.
Yeah, that's probably the extent that I
his
remember.
some of his bigger songs, but he's grown immensely, man. And yeah, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. He got this one called Wasted Talent, this album called Wasted Talent. That thing is a masterpiece, if you ask me, bro.
yeah.
Front to
What
back,
year?
I love it. Huh?
What year did that drop?
That one came out in 2018, I believe.
Okay,
2018
so
or
pretty recent.
2019. I might
Bro,
be getting
So yeah,
the
bro,
years wrong.
man, I haven't heard any new Jim Jones.
Yeah, so he's phenomenal. But another guy I can't believe we haven't mentioned yet.
Yes, right. Let's say it on the count of three. I know.
1, 2, 3.
Lloyd Banks. Yes, thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lloyd Banks. So that'll be our shared one. That's how we'll
Okay,
do
yeah,
it. We'll
okay,
each
yeah.
do one, and then we can
And
one
then,
we
yeah,
can agree
share,
on.
yeah.
But yeah, Lloyd Banks. He just dropped a album. What was it? Last Friday.
Yeah. It's
Called.
no, I
Was
think
it
two
last
Fridays ago.
2 Fridays ago?
Yeah.
Was it?
I think it's 2 weeks.
You might be
sure.
right.
Yeah.
But it's called The Course of the Inevitable, and it
Oh
is
my
a
God, bro.
thing of beauty, guys. If you like Lloyd Banks, if you like lyricism in general, check out Course of the Inevitable.
Bro, and I'm talking like this. Okay, is a fan of hip hop in general. Bro, I was taken aback.
Yeah, same.
So for some context, Jay texted me, and we've talked about Lloyd Banks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe on the cast, but personally, quite a few times.
absolutely. Yeah, his first album, Hunger for More, is
Yeah,
a
it's
classic.
a classic. Yeah, and I think it went platinum. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure,
multi-platinum,
Yeah,
like
multi-
4 times
Yeah,
platinum or something.
so I mean, just this dude's always been dope. But Jay texted me and was like, "Hey, bro, have you heard the new Lloyd Banks shit?" And I'm like, "Oh, when did it drop?" And he's like today. Like, have you heard? So I was like, "Oh, I'll go check it out now." And the first song, "Propane," comes, bro.
Oh, man.
The beat is like this murderous sounding. Like, bro,
Yeah.
if I was like plotting some shit and coming to get revenge, like I'm playing this song, bro.
Yeah.
And then lyrically, man, and his delivery. That's another thing, bro. You're this many years into the game and you're able to switch your flow in this
Yeah.
way, bro. Like, oh man.
A lot of it's like I was saying to you, like a lot of guys after so many years in the game, they just kind of coast. But he's just
Bro, some of my favorite, like one line I really liked is the one where we both laughed at, where he's like, "Everybody can't be a hater, you're just trash." Like
Yeah,
that one line,
yeah.
where, and then he has a line where he's like, "Your favorite rappers don't grace the top 10," and then a really slick one he goes, "I got more arms than a team huddle" or something like that. And I was like, bro, that's,
yeah, like it's just phenomenal, man.
lyrically.
He was always known as PLK, the Punchline King, but he's just added so much to that, so much diversity in the storytelling, and then he has a song where he's talking to a woman, and just versatile, man. And the album is 18 tracks, which these days it's like 18.
yeah,
But it's almost like when you watch a really good movie that's long.
you get to the end and you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit,
Yeah, you're like, oh, yeah,
18 songs like that.
already, so it's a phenomenal project.
Yeah. So much so that we can conclude, because we're right at the time here, is I was listening to it the other day and just out of nowhere text Jay and was like, bro, I think this is better than J. Cole's new album, which I stand by. Because
it's definitely we're about in the second half of the year. Third quarter's almost, or second quarter's almost over, and I think it will be amongst the best albums of the year.
Of the year,
Yeah.
without a doubt. I would
Absolutely.
say solidified already. I mean, there's probably going to be some contenders, but
Oh, yeah.
I'd put it up there with it. And my reason with the J. Cole thing, just to give it a bar, because I love the J. Cole album. I think
Phenomenal.
he killed that, bro.
Yeah.
And J. Cole, I listened to for, in rotation for a good maybe 4 or 5 days. I listened to
Yeah.
him through about, a certain amount of times. Lloyd Banks has not left my place,
Same.
bro, for 2 weeks now, and I'm still vibing off of it.
Yeah,
So
it's
I'll still
dope,
listen to it, and
man.
I'll find a line that I'm like, how did I not catch this line? So
He's got some
shout out
dope
to
features,
Lloyd
too.
Banks, bro. Like,
Yeah.
who would've
Yeah, he's
thought?
incredible, man. One more thing I just want to add about that. I think it's dope because a couple years ago, he was on Twitter. Somebody asked him when he was going to do some new music, and he was like, "Oh, people ain't really checking for me like that no more."
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of people retweeted like, "No, bro, we absolutely want you to bring
Yeah.
some new music out." Like,
Which I think this is the product of. Like,
Yeah.
shout out to those people, and like Lloyd Banks for answering. I also like that he's one of those really conscious artists, because one thing that's really unfortunate to watch is somebody who has kind of faded into obscurity.
Yeah.
And they come back as if they're just like,
yeah, hey, I'm part of the scenery.
yeah, where
I'm
it's like, yo,
with
bro,
the
like,
young guys.
yeah. So it was it's cool on Twitter for him to be like, oh man, people don't like listen
I'm
to
not
Lloyd
really-
Banks like
yeah.
that anymore, and just was like and then nice, like what a blessing to have his like a bunch of people be like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about? Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So
dope,
I
man.
thought about that with and no disrespect here, but when I told the story on the podcast, but that Roy Jones collab that I
Yeah.
did. I ended up never following through with getting the paperwork and like the contract signed, which is kind of a lot of people hear that story and like, bro, you had a free collab with like a platinum selling rapper and
Yeah.
you just didn't do a contract. And my reason was not to be a dick, but I wasn't feeling the vibe of the song personally. Didn't really care for the subject matter, and on top of that, how relevant is Roy Jones in music?
Yeah.
Like, and not to be a dick, but realistically, like I drop a Roy Jones song, how many people are gonna be like, "What?
Roy
Roy
Jones?
Jones? You
Yeah,
mean the
so-
guy who had a hit 23 years ago?" Yeah. So, and no disrespect, I mean that dude is a fucking Hall of Fame boxer. And, so
Not a Hall of Fame rapper.
bro,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. But let's close out
All
the
right,
show.
let's close out the show. All right, so you have been tuned into another episode of the Young Old Heads podcast. We are the hip hop adjacent podcast where we talk a little bit about everything and a lot about nothing. So thank you for tuning in. Again, guys, subscribe, jump in the comments, and I'm just
Leave
gonna
us a like.
Yeah, like the videos, because being realistic, the more traffic we get, the more it'll pop up in other people's news feeds, all these different things.
Helps
so
us with the algorithm, helps us grow, and then when we blow up, you can say that
I
you
was
helped
there from
support
the
us.
beginning. Yeah. One
I've
of
been
those
watching
situations.
you guys since episode 20. This is episode 20, by the way.
No, this is Ep20. So shout out Ep20. So So comment and like and share. And if you're one of the 8 people who do
Subscribe.
listen, yeah.
All 8 of you.
Yeah. All right. Well, love you.
Oh, by the way, I'm Sexton Hardcastle. We didn't say our names.
Oh yeah. And I am Fumbo Wapadito.
You didn't
Bringing
even
it
get
back.
it out.
I know.
You didn't even
I
get it
tried.
out
It was
all
the
the way.
last moment. It was an inside
you
joke.
sure you did.
All right. Bye.
Love you.